everybody. Welcome to This Day. It is Wednesday, December 23rd. We don't have any meetings to tell you about today, but on our show, we have two folks from RadNet. We have Dr. Jason McKellop, who is a radiologist, and we're going to talk a little bit about why it is so important to make sure you keep your appointments, as well as Karen Morad is here to do a wrap-up of 2020 and all the great things that have been happening with RadNet and what she looks forward to for the new things provided to the residents for 2021. All right, let's go ahead and give you our regular resources we do for COVID-19. COVID19.ca.gov is where you can follow along with the governor, ochealthinfo.com, and there is a hotline, 714-834-2000. You could always go to our website, which is lagunawoodsvillagealerts.com, and you can email us any questions or concerns at info@lagunawoodsvillage.com. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our weather. It is still looking quite lovely for the next few days. We did have a little bit of fog this morning, but that will burn off in just a little bit. But we are still looking at partly cloudy today with some gusty winds later. There is actually a red flag warning for some gusty winds. 73-51 today. Tomorrow, 74-48, and those gusty winds are going to last through the midday. Friday, beautiful, 69-49. Saturday, partly sunny, 67-50. And then by Sunday, we are looking at a chance of rain, 66-52. If you are traveling, the beaches are looking, quite nice, 66-49. Mammoth, 38-15. Big Bear, 49-25. And then Palm Springs, 74-50. Our sunrise this morning was 6:53, and our sunset will be 4:48. And thank you to Ron Clem for sending in this beautiful picture of a Christmas tree, which evidently is the largest Christmas tree in the world, and that is found down at the San Clemente outlet. So thank you, Ron, for sending that in. If you have a photo that you would like to share with us for the remainder of the year, please email it to lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. All right, when we come back, we will have Dr. Jason McKellop from RadNet. Stay tuned.
Communities are starting to feel the financial impact of COVID-19, commonly called coronavirus. But we want you to know that there is help. We have disability insurance for workers who are ill or medically quarantined due to COVID-19. Paid family leave is available for those caring for an ill or medically quarantined family member, and unemployment insurance for reduced hours or lost work. We're all in this together. For information on how to stay healthy, visit covid19.ca.gov.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Dr. Jason McKellop, who is here on behalf of RadNet Wrestling. Well, Jason, thank you so much for joining me. How are you today?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. It's been busy around here, which can be a good thing, especially for our patients. And otherwise, staying as isolated as home as I possibly can, and
right.
Hoping to see the light at the end of the tunnel of this pandemic. So,
well, we sure hope so. That's for sure. Because a lot of our residents, they have been abiding by the rules, and I think they're ready to, move on and get out and about. So, we're here to talk. We've talked to several people at RadNet over time, especially over the last year. And here we find ourselves in a little bit more of a lockdown again, which we didn't think we would actually be in. But before we go into that, let's talk a little bit about what essential imaging is and why it's important.
So essential imaging is essentially a term that we use to describe radiology imaging studies that are of a time-sensitive nature. So this would include imaging studies that if the patient doesn't have or doesn't obtain these imaging studies in a timely manner, then there is impact on the morbidity or mortality based on the lack of their getting that imaging. So you can think of it as time-sensitive imaging. Should a patient not receive this imaging, this would have untoward consequences on their health and drive up the rate of morbidity or complications due to a certain illness, or mortality, death related to a certain illness.
So let's talk about the last 9 months and how people have been afraid. And we've talked about this before, and we want to make sure people understand. Can you give me an example of where a patient didn't come in and now find themselves in a serious situation?
Absolutely. There's one particular patient that comes to mind because I actually had the opportunity to see this patient on a consecutive basis, which is not a common occurrence in my field of work. Typically, we see patients, we make recommendations for potential biopsies, and then they fall into the hands of either breast surgeons or medical oncologists, and we typically don't get follow-up. But for this particular patient, she had to return for a couple additional imaging studies as well as a couple additional biopsies. And her case stands out to me above some of the others. There have been some noteworthy cases in the past several months, but this one in particular stood out to me. It's a story of a 41-year-old single mother of 2 children who first felt a lump in her breast in January. And she attributed this to hormonal fluctuation. She was still seeing her menstrual cycle. She's a young mom. And she waited initially over the course of a 2-month or 2 cycles, and the mass didn't go away. But it was March at that time, and then the pandemic struck, and that further delayed her presentation to her primary care doctor for further evaluation. In addition to that, her hands were tied, obviously, with her 2 young children, and as life tends to do, it gets busy. And but the pandemic was one of the salient reasons why she delayed her care. So she actually didn't represent for clinical care until June or July, at which point this mass that she had felt was now visible, even on visual inspection. So you could see it on clinical breast exam. This felt for her from us. So we began her imaging workup. We did the biopsies. Unfortunately, it did come back positive for cancer, and she's subsequently undergoing treatment. But you can't help but wonder, whether or not a couple months earlier presentation may have been advantageous. That question is always true. But in light of the pandemic, you wonder whether or not she would have presented, maybe in February or March, as opposed to a few months later, and what impact does that have on her care? I'm still optimistic for her case. Nonetheless, she's in the hands of capable surgeons and medical oncologists, and I'm still optimistic that there will be a good outcome, but you can't help but feel you can't help but question whether or not the pandemic negatively impacted her outcome.
Right. And so lesson learned, I suppose, is to don't delay, especially if you feel a lump or something is out of the ordinary. Are you seeing an increase overall in cancer in people over the last several months?
So it's interesting. I haven't done a very strict statistical analysis of this. And I think to answer that question accurately, I would have to do such an analysis to see if there's truly an uptick. But I can speak to my own personal experience. When I do biopsies, I have to follow up these biopsies, reviewing the pathology report and determining what's called concordance, whether or not the biopsy that I've performed explains the finding that I'm seeing on imaging. And through that exercise over the past several months, I can see, the sheer number of cases that come back as benign, nothing to worry about, or malignant. And in my own personal experience, just anecdotally, it feels as though I'm seeing a lot more in terms of positive cases. And I could show you a visual representation of that because I keep a stack of these charts in my office. It might be too heavy for me to carry at this point.
It's okay, we get it.
Yeah,
it is a shame that people have been so afraid, and
yep.
I know that RadNet and BreastLink and all of your partners really have done a great job of sanitizing and making sure there's distancing and waiting rooms, and you've gone through a lot to make sure people feel comfortable, but sometimes it just isn't enough. So what would you say to people?
So to those who are concerned about coming in,
Yeah.
well, we've collectively as a society, we've learned a great deal about COVID-19. Obviously, when it started months ago, we didn't know anything, and I think it was, the right decision to, remain in isolation and secluded from the remainder of society as we learn more about the condition. As time has gone on, we have learned a significant amount. Granted, we are still trudging through this pandemic, and we're not quite through it. We're learning by the day, by the week about the virus. But we've also learned how to mitigate transmission of the virus, especially in a clinical setting. We do know that the medical services that we provide, in my case, in breast imaging, do serve a great purpose to society, namely diagnosing breast cancers at an early stage that confers a survival advantage, meaning women live longer and beat the disease. Certainly not a cure, but the closest thing that we have, to a cure is early diagnosis, and that has an impact as well. That has, like I mentioned at the outset, a morbidity and a mortality impact on patients. So we know that our interventions help society and public health at large, and we have to balance the impact that we have on society with that impact that COVID has. And COVID certainly is something to consider. We're hovering around 1,500 to 1,800 deaths per day now, with COVID as it gets more rampant. But we've had an opportunity to kind of mitigate the transmission of the virus by instrumenting certain changes within our healthcare setting to allow patients to safely transit in and out of our facility to obtain this preventative healthcare and diagnostic healthcare that they need to deal with other conditions outside of the pandemic, which are ongoing simultaneous to the ongoing pandemic.
Right. So then your advice would be don't wait.
I would say at this stage, no, especially if it is a case that a woman or a man is feeling a new breast complaint, a lump in the breast. I would advise them to initially consult with their primary care physician. This can be done in a virtual manner, and their primary care physician can assess whether or not further imaging studies are necessary. At which point they can feel safe and safely schedule an appointment at our facility and transit in and out of our facility with little concern for transmission, of the virus, and get the appropriate imaging care that they need, because timely diagnosis is critical to treating breast cancer specifically.
So what if somebody didn't have any symptoms at all? They didn't find a lump, but they had their regular scheduled mammogram. Some people are putting those off. So you still want them to keep those, right?
Like I mentioned, we've made steps or taken steps to mitigate transmission of the virus, and we do so on a daily basis. So even those patients who are coming in for screening exams, I still am confident this is a safe environment for those as well, and those who are asymptomatic.
Great. Good advice. Great information. We appreciate you taking the time with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
You're welcome. And we'll be right back after this.
At our new Memorial Wave Imaging Center in Laguna Woods, formerly Orange County Diagnostics, you can expect the same precise imaging, multiple modalities for your imaging needs, and the same friendly staff with medical providers like Dr. Syed Sharakni. The Laguna Woods Transportation Service offers convenient access right to our door, and we continue to provide the care and compassion that you expect from our new Wave Laguna Woods location.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Karen Morad, who is here on behalf of RadNet. And also, we are so happy to have you with us, all festive. You look amazing. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Um, may you all be joyous and glee.
Oh, that is so sweet. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time. I know we've had you on before, and we've interviewed many of your doctors and executives, and it's been really a really nice treat to talk to all of you because you've shed some great light over the year on why it's so important to still have your appointments for your mammograms and radiology. And so, you know, if we talk about our feelings of what's happened over 2020, how are you feeling about it?
Oh boy, how many adjectives can I use? It has been a crazy year, surreal, challenging. You know, it's been a year, but one of the things that's most important is to not forget our health care. As women, especially with our mammography, with our breast cancer screenings, with everything involved with that, and then males for prostate screening and, you know, any other necessary testing. It's although it's been a lot that's happened in the outside world, we can't forget about ourselves and our loved ones and taking care of us, because no one's going to take care of us if we don't take care of ourselves.
Right, and the message throughout the entire year really has been exactly that. Don't forget that even though we are faced with these kinds of challenges, you know, RadNet stayed open the entire time, and you guys were prepared as soon as it happened. You got ready, you took care of the necessary CDC protocols. So you guys were definitely on it. And one thing that has resonated with all of your doctors and representatives have been, don't give up on your health just because you're faced with these kinds of challenges. So, you know, let's kind of review some of those challenges that you guys did face.
When all this happened, I would say early 2020, we actually did all of our research. We met with the CDC. We began to follow strict guidelines so that we can continue to operate and to provide outpatient imaging services for patients. So we implemented plans that included strict disinfecting protocols, sanitation protocols, proper use of PPE, which included masks, gowns, gloves, providing hand sanitizer for ourselves and for patients, wiping everything down before and after visits. And I think one of the most important things that we did was we offered what we call a virtual waiting room. So when a patient arrives to their appointment, they can check in via their text, via their phone, and actually wait outside or wait in the comfort of their vehicle until the technologists are ready to take them back. And it provides for better social distancing. And, you know, especially if a patient is feeling anxious around other people, it's really worked out effectively. And we've been able to maintain full operation at all of our locations.
Exactly. And, you know, as you mentioned early on, there was a period of time where I think that people were just so concerned that they never really went. And now that we're 9 months later, some of those people have found that they should have gone to get their mammograms or their testing.
That's very true. We can cite numerous case studies where patients who had come in prior to the date that they did come in, when they were due, per se, would have avoided some additional complications. But that's why we really try and emphasize the importance of continuing your screening. Don't delay. Don't say, well, it's okay, I can wait another year. Last year I was okay. There's a reason why the professionals have implemented the guidelines, which is yearly mammogram for women age 40 and up, certain protocols for prostate cancer screening. There's reasons why, because research will tell us that that is the best type of screening in order to detect cancer in its earliest stages, when it's treatable and when it's potentially curable. I would say actually that our team of professionals, which includes our front office, our back office, our radiologists, our managers, administrators, anyone who's involved in patient care and behind the scenes, they have proven to us that they are our heroes, that they really have gone the extra mile to make sure that we can continue operating and that we can do what's best for the patient. So I would say our lessons from the outside are that, you know, we can continue to maintain a practice and that we can continue to treat patients. But in essence, we would not have been able to do it if it wasn't for the amazing staff that we have throughout all of our RadNet centers.
Okay. Now, as of right now, all centers are open, including the wave imaging, the memorial care. Kind of go over all of the centers that are local.
Earlier this year, we rebranded our name. So all of our locations in Orange County and Long Beach are named Wave Imaging. That's a joint venture that we have with the Memorial Health System and RadNet. We're providing all outpatient imaging services from mammography to advanced and interventional radiology.
What are some of the goals for 2021? I mean, obviously we're coming close to our end here in December, and you know, gosh, right around the corner, we've got 2021, and we also have the vaccines, which is encouraging news. So tell me what your goals are.
So 2021, we are, you know, I think as everybody is hoping for somehow a relief from this pandemic, whether it's in the form of a cure, a vaccine, which I know is out there. We're hoping that whether 2021 brings some form of us having to change our model in order to accommodate, this pandemic that has been going on, or whether it evaporates, which would be the ideal situation. Either way, we are prepared and we are ready, and our centers will be providing all outpatient services for patients.
Okay, and do you guys have plans for any additional expansion?
It's always a possibility. We are growing. RadNet is the largest outpatient imaging center in the country. So, we've just expanded into the Arizona market, which was a first for us. So we're proud to say that we now have 7 operational centers in Arizona. So we hope we're growing.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. And then in closing, what are some things that you'd like to let our residents know?
That I always love to come on air. I always love to reach out to you. I miss being able to be on campus there and participate in some of the events. So that would be another one of my goals for 2021, that I can step back on campus and we can have some maybe health fairs, live events where we can talk to you all personally, bring some of our physicians to come in. So I'm looking forward to some human interaction.
Yeah, really, I hear you. We really are hoping that people can come back in here in the next couple of months, although this has been fun and it's been challenging, but it's been great. So thank you so much for your time and for all of your physicians' times.
Thank you guys, and happy holidays and happy New Year.
All right, thank you, Karen.
Bye-bye.
And we'll be right back after this.
At the Memorial Care Breast Center, Saddleback, you will always find a friendly face to guide you through your annual mammogram visit. Our staff, dedicated subspecialist breast radiologists, knowledge, and innovative technology await your visit to our center. With the Laguna Woods shuttle service right at our sidewalk, this convenient location offers you quick access for your appointment. You can expect nothing but the best for all your breast health needs at Memorial Care Breast Center, Saddleback.
Welcome back, and welcome from our newly decorated set. So you'll be seeing a lot of this over the course of 2021. All right, we've got some great movies to tell you about that we are going to be airing for you tomorrow and Friday. So for the special movies for tomorrow, we have A Very Merry Toy Story, and that will be at 10 a.m. with subtitles, 11:40 without. We have Four Christmases and a Wedding, 1:30 p.m. with subtitles, 3:10 without. And then Buttons, A Christmas Tale, which is going to be played at 3 p.m. with subtitles and then 5 p.m. without. Now on Friday, we have a couple more special movies for you. We have Santa Fake, which will be on at 10:30 in the morning with subtitles and then at noon without. And then The Man Who Invented Christmas will be on at 2 p.m. with subtitles and 7 p.m. without. And those movies are brought to you by the City of Hope. All right, let's just tell you a little bit quick thing about the Fa La La. Sunday is the last time you're going to be able to listen to that, and that's the seasonal music by the Old Pros and the Woods Combo, and that'll be at 6 p.m. Okay, let's take a look at our weather one last time. We'll go ahead and take a look at your traveling weather, which is the beaches are going to be about 66-49. Mammoth will be at 38-15. Then Big Bear, we're looking at 49-25. Palm Springs, 74-50. And then locally, our weather is looking quite nice, like I mentioned before. It is going to be about 73-51 today. Tomorrow, 74-48. Friday, 69-49. And then Saturday, 67-50. And Sunday, it looks as though we just might have some sprinkles in the afternoon, 66-52. Now, we wanted to let you know that we will not be airing This Day tomorrow or Friday, but we will be back on Saturday at 9 a.m. with some great information for you. I wanted to wish everyone who celebrates Christmas a very Merry Christmas and have a great holiday if you have vacation. And like I said, we'll see you again here on Saturday at 9 a.m. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Dennis Cafferty, General Manager of the El Toro Water District. I sincerely hope you are healthy and well. I want to assure you the district staff remains hard at work to ensure the reliability of the water and wastewater systems that serve our community. Please know your drinking water remains safe. The COVID-19 virus is not present in the drinking water delivered to your home. The district continues to frequently and routinely test the drinking water system to verify it meets all health standards and requirements. It's also important to note during this period when flushable wipes and other cleaning wipes are being used more frequently at home, please do not flush them down the toilet. These items can cause blockages and sewer spills. Toilet paper is the only material that should be flushed down the toilet. The district's customer service representatives are available by phone or email to answer any questions you may have or address any concerns you may have about payment during this crisis. Thank you for your attention. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay strong.